Okay, so the first batch of trans gems have been announced later than we wanted to, but they're here. Some of them are rather interesting, specifically the Blight and Contagion ones, which I hope will potentially provide us with the possibility of making some sort of Chaos Dot comeback, which is a really, really fun build we used to play a long time ago. But I wanted to talk real quick about the minion stuff. So we have a Animate Guardian Smiting, which we saw a video of rather recently, where the Animate Guardian is smiting enemies using a AoE-based cascading smite. Looks really cool. The problem with it does not give the smite aura. This means the Animate Guardian will only be doing extra damage. And there's only one build I can think of where you would care about the damage output of the Animate Guardian, which would be the Chains of Command build. The problem with that is that the Chains of Command build has a large amount of animate weapons created by the Animate Guardian's weapon. They will do most of your damage and most of your killing blows, which means that we're going to use Gravebind. And now, the damage output of the Animate Guardian is completely irrelevant, which means that this gem is completely irrelevant, which is kind of sad because it looked really cool. And then we have the inspiring versions, Dominating Blow and Absolution. So basically what they're doing is that increases and reductions to minion damage also applies to this skill's damage at 250% of their value. So basically what they're saying is that when you cast a skill, not your minions, you will be able to do a significant amount more damage, and you can also combine this with something like Spiritual Aid to do even more damage. However, neither of these abilities have been a type of ability where we have ever given a shit about how much damage we are dealing. All we're doing is triggering the actual summoning to get the minions out. And what these support gems, or sorry, these skill gems, the trans gems, are doing to have a drawback for you doing so much more damage is to cut down on the amount of minions you're summoning. And that is detrimental. So you're essentially losing a stupid amount of damage for using this. So Absolution goes from 3 Sentinels down to 2, which is disastrous. You will never do that. Dominating Blow, based on the high-budget Dominating Blow build that we have a guide for, we went from 160,000 DPS on our player damage output to, if I calculate correctly, to almost 500,000. To get that 500,000 damage output, you have to first lose 8 million damage. We use other minions, such as golems, specters, and zombies, to help you generate the initial killing blow and or writhing jar. And since when you're hitting a single target boss fight, you only have a 25% chance to summon your normal sentinel versus those fights. So the way you sort this on both Absolution, but mostly the Dominating Blow, is the increasing the amount of hits per second you do so that you can quickly get your minions out. That means you want to have a stupidly high APS. Your damage output has a 0 impact, and it's completely irrelevant for a build like this to function. So yeah, I get it. They're gonna have, you know, less functional, less effective, I guess, opening up for the possibility of doing new build types with these things. But when it comes to minions, something that's been very detrimental across the board is fewer minions. That's why I'm personally not a big fan of the Reaper minion, for example. That's a 1 minion army, and the clear speed is complete dog shit. But the single target is actually pretty decent on that with enough investment. But lower amount of minions means lower efficiency in general for a well-rounded beast, if you will. So I think that the changes from the Transfigured Gems that we've seen so far for minions I am personally not a big fan of them. I think the Guardian looks pretty cool, but it just feels irrelevant. All of them are irrelevant. Last time we actually did damage with an ability like this was actually Dominating Blow, where we used a two-handed weapon, and that was back in 2015. That is 8 years ago. So I don't know if what the purpose are behind these, or the idea is to introduce trans gems that are deliberately horrific, or if they actually have changes for, you know, in the pipeline that's going to make these somewhat interesting or possible to make some cool builds with, because it would be pretty cool for us to do damage at the same time, especially with the access of things like Spiritual Aid, for example. But outside of that, just straight off the bat, my personal take, I think that some of these others are pretty cool, but since I do like some experience with the bow stuff specifically, I think the Contagion and the Blight stuff actually looks really cool. Will be fun to see what Essence Drain will bring to the table, but the minions are... Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of them, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Till then, stay safe. Keep rocking.